So why a business won't sell? Well, that could be a bargain for you, but it's a seller's market at the moment. We have an overabundance of inquiry and we have an underabundance, if you like, or a lack of listings, a lack of things to sell you. So it is a buyer's market, but that still means that there are businesses that won't sell and won't sell unless their value is discounted heavily. But why is that? Well, in 20 years as a business broker, I see this a lot. They're profitable. They've been going a long time. They've got good customers. And they are a good business. They're making good money, but they still don't sell. Well, the general reason is that they have one or more of these 5 things that are a problem within the business, and having that problem drives the value of that business down. So have a look for a business with one or more of these 5 things, and well, you might be able to bag a bargain. So inadequate preparation is a major issue. Buyers, they want something that's prepared, something that looks good. They want documentation in place. They want good, strong, bulletproof financials. There should be no ambiguity. But some sellers, well, they wake up in the morning and they think, it's a nice day. I think I'll put my business on the market. So they have totally inadequate preparation. Now, inadequate preparation, that leads to worries and concerns when a buyer looks at it. What else is missing? What don't I know? How much information is not being passed over? So when you're looking at a business for sale, or indeed when you want to sell your business, it's vitally important to get your preparation in place. Good, strong, clean financials, lease agreements in place, supply agreements in place. Are they transferable? Are they changeable? Client lists, product lists, employment agreements, all the things that a buyer is going to need to look at and indeed want to look at, especially during due diligence. You should have it all in place, all there, all ready to go. So avoid inadequate preparation. And one of the biggest issues is poor sales management. Selling a business is a full-time job. It's not something that you can do part-time while you're running your business. Yes, I'm a business broker, I would say that, but you need to employ the service of a trustworthy business broker, someone you know, like, and want to deal with. That'll be me, by the way. A good business broker will put that sales plan in process. They'll know how to flow the information to a buyer, to not give out too much information so that the business can be damaged, but to give out just enough information at certain periods down the process. Sure, everything does need to be disclosed, but it should be disclosed in a logical and progressive manner. There's no point in just chucking everything out there and hoping it sticks. You need to give the right information to the right buyer at the right time. And that's when the help of a sales professional is so important. That can often be the difference between a very average or poor price and a great price. Of course, the benefits run both ways. The buyer buys a business that he knows is in good shape. The information isn't everywhere all across the city all about the business. The process has been handled well, the business has been protected, and the buyer takes over a successful business. Now, there has to be a clear handover plan. What happens when that buyer takes over the business? Is the seller going to introduce the buyer to the customers, the suppliers? How are those suppliers going to react? Does there need to be a trip overseas to deal with the suppliers? Are supply agreements going to be transferred? What's the marketing plan? How are you going to manage the staff? Now, all of these things have to be organized in advance. As a seller, you should be making sure you have all of that documented. You have a clear plan so you know exactly how you're going to hand over the business to the buyer. And the buyer needs to understand they need to have a plan, what they need, what they think they want, and how they're going to manage that handover. It needs to be seamless, clean, and totally unambiguous. The buyer needs to step into the seller's shoes and the business needs to run well. So lack of that handover plan is really detrimental to the value of the business. And a business plan. Is there a business plan in place? Is there a simple business plan on continuity? What the marketing of the business does, how it's going to look going forward. So planning the changeover, planning the transfer, planning that transition, if you like, critical to the success of a business. And again, it should be documented. Which brings us on to businesses that are, well, over-dependent on the owner. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you need to look at the business and understand what the owner does in the business. Are they the business? Does the business survive because of the owner's input alone? Or does the business have staff that can replace the owner? I mean, if people are ringing up the business and asking for the owner by name because there's no one else there they want to deal with, then that's a problem. So the business needs to have its goodwill in the business, not sitting in the owner. And a good way to find out is, well, ask the owner, when was the last time they took a holiday? How long was that holiday? And what did they do? Now, if that holiday was 3-4 weeks and they got phoned a couple of times and everything was fine when they got back, then that's fine. That's a good indication that the business is smart enough in its own right. But if the owner is constantly getting interrupted and always getting the calls and the staff don't know what to do, then that's a problem. And that's not really a business that can run independent of the owner. So business dependency. So if you own a business, start letting the staff take over. Start divesting your clients to the staff. Make the business smart, not the owner. If you're getting value from this video, and I certainly hope you are, there's a button just down there for people like yourself. It's called the like button, looks like that. Give it a hit subscribe, that'd be much appreciated. Back to the video. So price is another big issue. How was that price arrived at? Some owners think that the price of their business is dependent on how much they owe, how much the cost of the new car is, what the school fees are, how to pay off the mortgage, and how to spend money at the batch. And that's not a valuation methodology that you want to use for your business. So it's important to have the business priced based on market statistics. Now that's when a broker, that'll be me, comes in. We can price the business based on the market. We can look at what other businesses in the market have sold for that are similar to that business, and we can price the business accordingly. There's no point in going out with a price that's 50% more than what everybody else has paid for the same sort of business in the market. It just won't happen. So aligning that price expectation is really important. So get a good quality market valuation or market appraisal of the business and make sure the business is priced accordingly. Now, yes, there are businesses that are better than average, and yes, there are businesses that are worse than average. So as long as you're within those averages, you're fine. You just can't be too far outside of those averages. So price misalignment is definitely something that needs to be watched. Well, you found the business that you want to buy. It's a great business, but it might be a bit risky. So what can you do to make that business purchase risk-free, or at very least, de-risk that business purchase? Well, what you can do is have a look at that video up there. I'll see you over there. It'll show you how to de-risk your business purchase. Thanks for watching. See you again.